Welcome back to Freelynx Tech Tips. Today we'll be walking through the process to upgrade the firmware on your Freelynx. This process should take about an hour and 15 minutes. 15 minutes to move the files and an hour for the new time sync. Older versions of firmware take 15 minutes total to update. You will need your Freelynx, some tweezers, power stick, power source, a micro SD to SD card adapter, or a card reader capable of reading microSD, your Ruckus router, and a computer with Cheetah and Domain Time 2 installed to download and copy over the firmware. To request updated Freelynx firmware from Freelynx, first determine if your Freelynx has an old or new radio. Any Freelynx marked with the Freelynx logo like this one will contain the new radio. If you have an older Freelynx with the Cube 2 logo, your Freelynx may have an old or new radio. If your Freelynx unit only goes up to 128 channels, that is the old radio. You can also determine which by looking for this very small difference when looking down at the Freelynx. The other factor that determines the firmware needed is whether you are using head stages with RHD2164 chips or RHD2132 chips. Once you know what radio you have and whether you need the standard or RHD2164 firmware, send an email to support@neuralynx.com and we'll send you the download link for the firmware. The microSD card is located behind the LED light at the top of the Freelynx. Use your tweezers to gently push the card in until you hear it click and feel it release. Then use your tweezers to pull it out. Note the orientation of the microSD card label as it is towards the LED and only can be inserted in this direction when putting back into the Freelynx. Once you have removed the card, mount it in the SD adapter or your card reader and connect to the computer. Look for the mounted drive NLX OS. Open the system parameters.txt using Notepad or similar and notate the network SSID for your Freelynx. This is very important to record as it is unique to your Freelynx and needed to reestablish the connection with the wireless router. You may also wish to make a backup of these files somewhere safe. We'll be replacing them with those from the firmware download. Copy over the files from the download link you were given. Ensure that if they were downloaded as a .zip, that you've extracted them. Edit the system parameters txt and add in your unique SSID you recorded earlier. Save the file and close it. Rename the file to remove the first underscore so it becomes systemparameters.txt. This is necessary to flash the firmware and will need to be renamed back once the device is flashed. Eject the card from your operating system and physically remove it. Use your tweezers to place the microSD card back in the Freelynx, ensuring that the label is facing the power LED. Be sure to push down until it clicks in. Attach your power source. Use the power stick to turn on the Freelynx. Wait until the Ruckus router 5G light turns green. After the 5G light turns green, start Cheetah and load the freelynx.config. Wait for your Cheetah clock icon to turn green. If your clock icon does not turn green, check that Domain Time 2 is installed. If you need the installer, contact support@neuralynx.com. Start a timer for 1 hour if upgrading from firmware prior to 2.5.0 standard or prior to 3.1.0 in TAN2164 versions. It is necessary to let the Freelynx run for at least an hour to create a drift file. After an hour, power off the Freelynx with the power stick. Eject the microSD card again. Mount the microSD card again on the computer and re-add the underscore to the systemparameters.txt so that it reads underscore systemparameters.txt. This will ensure the Freelynx does not attempt to reflash the firmware on subsequent startups and is necessary to avoid possible corruption with too many flashes. Finally, eject the card from the computer and place back in the Freelynx. You have now successfully upgraded your Freelynx firmware.